Welcome back to the Nomad Hedge, everybody. In today's video, we will be taking a look at the charts of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some other crypto coins to see where we are in this market. We will be taking a look at the Elliott wave count and see where this correction is going. We're also going to take a look at some intermarket analysis, especially the ETH BTC ratio, and we're going to end up with a proxy for the miner space and take a look at an ETF, which is looking very, very interesting. So if you haven't already, consider liking, subscribing, and let's get into the video. So let's start off by taking a look at Bitcoin futures. And as we can see, we have concluded wave 5 here of many a degree. So the correction has now officially started, and that means we're looking for potential support before we can resume higher. Now we're eyeing two levels here. The first one is the 55 EMA, and the second one is the POC line here, lining with this anchored VWAP. So this is a level that we are watching because what this POC line tells us is that with this entire move here towards wave 5, most people actually bought Bitcoin at around $105,000. So that's sort of like also aligns with the psychology of the markets, that most people actually buy at the top and in the early stages of wave 5. So we could actually test this level here, and we also have to remember that within an Elliott wave count, there's also a possibility that we could retest this 0.618 level. So that's the worst case scenario. So either we're going to test the 55, the POC line, or the 0.618. When we look at the 0.618, we do have the 233 EMA, and we also have this CME gap. Now, the reason why CME gaps are important, we highlighted this actually on X, and we said that price we're likely going to test and close these gaps here. So we can see that the first gap here was closed at around 118,000, and then the second gap here at around 112, 114, and that was also a confirmation that the correction was going to ensue. So that's how we look at Bitcoin here. If we're going to test this 55 EMA, then we could make the case that this is actually wave 1 and this is wave 2, and then we have a subwave here of wave 1, 2. So that's also a possibility that wave 5 here could be set here instead of there. And the more this one corrects, the more it aligns with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how we are looking at the Elliott wave structure of Bitcoin. We're also going to take a look at Ethereum and see other cryptos, how they are syncing up with this correction here with Bitcoin. Moving on to Ethereum, and as we can see, we are beginning to conclude the correction here of wave 4. We believe is wave 4 because wave 1 and wave 2 of minute degrees started back here in June. And so potentially we are watching this 34 EMA here to conclude wave 4, and that also sort of like aligns with this 0.382 level, which is where you see wave 4 conclude. Now, worst case scenario, you can see price even dropping to this 0.5 level, and that's a very, very extreme correction for wave 4. And so we're looking for 0.382 where Ethereum will find support before resuming higher to wave 5 of minute degree. Now, I know this chart is looking a little bit cluttered here, but to just give you a perspective, this is the 34 EMA and this is the anchored VWAP here. And so there's a lot of support here towards the downside for Ethereum to resume higher, and we also have major gaps here in between, so we believe these will close before resuming higher. So this is how Ethereum is faring out. We do have some resistance now below this 21 EMA, and that could obviously knock it down further here towards this anchored VWAP level. Again, we do remain bullish here for Ethereum, and eventually price will find support and we should resume higher. Moving on to Hyperliquid or HYPE, we can see that price has been knocked down to this 89 EMA, and what we're looking for here is a substructure. So we do have a 1, 2 of minute degree, and then we're likely going to start a minute degree here of wave 1 and 2. Now we're watching this level very, very carefully, and the reason why we're watching HYPE in general is because these crypto coins have been one of the leaders in the markets, and so we want to watch the leaders and see how they are faring out so that we can gauge the overall crypto markets and see how they will follow through when these find support and resume higher, or potentially even moving lower, and that could also give us more confirmation. So for now, we do have established support here at the 89 EMA, and obviously if we would break down below this major low here at wave 2 from minute degree, then this could potentially be an ABC pattern being played out, and we could see price retesting this 233 EMA. Or who knows? I mean, maybe this entire rally here is just a, that was the end of the bull market. But again, there's just too much demand here, and we believe retail will start to wake up from these levels now that we are retesting, and people try to get into the crypto markets in general. So we don't see any retail coming in yet, so that is why these price level here will be attractive for retail to come in. And so that's how we're looking at the hyper liquid coin, and that we believe this is a level here where it will find buyers and resume higher. Now lastly, we're also going to take a look at Bonk, because Bonk has been the meme coin that's actually been performing, we're outperforming in the early stages of this bull market. Now we can see here that we're finding support here at the 55 EMA, and we're also seeing XRP for that matter finding support at the 55 EMA. And just like the previous structures here of the Elliott wave, we could see a potential 1-2-1-2 being played out, or a leading diagonal where wave 3 and 4, especially wave 4, is undercutting wave 1 of minute degree. So that's also a possibility, but for now we are watching Bonk to see what's happening here. And this 55 EMA looks like it wants to establish support at this level, and once this level has been established, we could see everything just take off from here. So be very careful to try to short at these levels, because prices have been very volatile towards the downside, and eventually people will try to pick up these crypto coins at very cheap prices, and so try to short here is a little bit dangerous, I would say. So this is a level that we're watching here for Bonk, and we'll see next week how things are going to fare out. Most of the economic data has been released, so there isn't really much forward looking, to be honest, other than August could be a very negative month for the stock market in general. So we could see support being established, but we could see momentum towards the upside being a little bit subdued or weak. So either way, we don't think prices would go lower from here. This is pretty much how the crypto markets are faring out. We're also going to take a look at some intermarket analysis and see what that's telling us, if we're going to see further upside or if we're going to see further downside in general. So let's begin by taking a look at the intermarket relationships in the crypto markets. And right now we do have a popular chart or ratio where we're looking at ETH versus BTC. So as we can see here, as this ratio goes down, that means Bitcoin is outperforming Ethereum, and when it goes up, it's the other way around. So the reason why a lot of people like to look at the chart is that whenever we're hitting very low levels like this, that's when Ethereum begins to take off pretty rapidly. Now the difference this time around is that previously we were still above this trend here. Now more recently we have broken below this trend, meaning there are two ways we can interpret this. Either Ethereum is going to underperform for a very long time, or this whole thing has been reset, and we could see a scenario where we do have a massive upside move here until the things start to repeat again. So right now, as we can see, we are finding resistance here at the POC line here. Now, if this level is rejected altogether, and we're starting to see Ethereum underperforming Bitcoin and starting breaking below these levels here, and mind you, there's a auction here that could act as a magnet for price to retest this level. So this is very important to watch, because this is going to tell us if Bitcoin is going to outperform in the future versus ETH. Because the reason why we're looking at ETH in the first place is because ETH represents the higher end of the altcoin market. So if ETH is underperforming, we could see a strong underperformance across the board for the altcoin market. And so this rejection level here was sort of like anticipated, but now we're just watching, the critical stage here to get above this level, and that will confirm that Ethereum is likely going to outperform in the future versus Bitcoin. So Ethereum aside, what we need to look at next is the altcoin market versus Bitcoin in general. And now we're stripping out the stablecoin market as well. So we're looking merely at the altcoin market versus BTC. So we're seeing a huge oversold level here for the altcoin market. And again, rejection here at the POC line. And we're reaching this 100% extension here, which should conclude wave C, or some type of correction here towards the downside. So what this tells us again is that the altcoin market is very oversold versus Bitcoin. So we've had a stretch for Bitcoin for a very long time, and that the altcoin market is ready to catch an upside move. So with Ethereum being very oversold and altcoins in general being very oversold and very cheap at this point, I think we could see a rotation into the altcoin market, and as that bid starts to move towards the upside, and then we could see a massive altcoin season taking place. So overall, this is just another way to look at the altcoin market without looking at Ethereum and see how that's comparing to Bitcoin in general. And that's not to say that Bitcoin is not going to perform well. It's just that we're going to see that higher beta or alpha in the altcoin market in that space. Finally, let's also take a look at the dominance levels between Tether and Bitcoin dominance. So we can see here whenever Bitcoin rises, we see the USDT losing steam here versus Bitcoin. So that's pretty normal, because what's happening between these two is basically just a transaction. So you're seeing when people buy Bitcoin, they're actually selling Tether for Bitcoin, and whenever they sell Bitcoin, they're exchanging that for Tether. So whenever the dominance of Tether is decreasing, we're seeing the price of Bitcoin moving up. So that's pretty obvious at this point. However, considering the oversold levels here for Tether and the retest here of this POC line, we could see a bid here for Tether, meaning people would start to sell BTC in favor of Tether. And so what we basically want to see here is a continuation of this downward trend, a break below this POC line here, and that would confirm that Bitcoin is still going to remain pretty active within this bull market that we're seeing here versus the stablecoin market. So I would keep an eye on this, because if we're starting to catch a bid here for Tether, it could signify a strong downside move for Bitcoin, and we could see more selling taking place in the overall crypto markets. So as long as we are above this POC line here, I would be a little bit more cautious. A break below this POC line could set the stage for Bitcoin to move much higher, and the overall altcoin market would follow through for that matter. Obviously, we're keeping you guys updated on X, so you could follow me at Nomad Hedge, and for that, we're going to move over to the miner space and take a look at one of the most popular ETFs, the BITQ. Okay, so let's also take a look at the BITQ, which is a proxy for the crypto miner space. We have companies like, MicroStrategy, Mara, Coin, and all these huge miner crypto companies. So let's move on and take a look at the Elliott wave count here, and we can see a conclusion here of wave 5. We had a negative divergence here from 3 to 5, so that's also confirming that the correction is now happening. Now we did find some temporary support here at the former volume profile value area highs, and so typically in a correction you do see price navigate towards this wave 4. And so if we would apply some moving averages, the closest thing we could see here is the 233 EMA. Or, the best case scenario, we could be looking at this anchored VWAP, which is also a very strong demand area for prices to find support before resuming higher. And so this volume, or this POC line here, tells us that there's more downside pressure, and we're also looking at this value area low as well. So there's a balance here between this anchored VWAP, this value area low, or the 233 EMAs. This is a very, very volatile space. There's no surprise to see prices dropping hugely for these stocks. Now, I could say that this is perhaps a wave AB, and if we do 100% extension, it would align with this anchored VWAP here. So we're aiming at around $17. And if we would find support here and see price moving up higher, that would also confirm where the overall crypto market is going. If we take a look at Bitcoin or Ethereum, because these miners are heavily dependent on the price of Bitcoin, and that's how they make their money. They mine these Bitcoins, and as the price of Bitcoin goes higher, they're making a profit. So we're watching this 100% extension along with this anchored VWAP here. This correction is almost over, I would say. So catching a bid here would be very, very positive, and that's what I think we would see perhaps next week, finding support at this 100% extension. So that was pretty much it for today's video. That was a quick overview of the crypto markets. We've been looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some other crypto coins to see where we are currently in this market. We're keeping an eye on this ETH BTC intermarket analysis alongside with the USDT dominance to see if we're going to catch a bid here for the overall crypto space, or if you're going to see more selling towards the stablecoin market. So that was pretty much it for today's video. I'll keep you guys updated. You can follow me on X if you want some daily updates, and I'll be continue posting new videos. If you haven't already, consider liking and subscribing, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care for now.